Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Rachel Clark.
That's me.
In the flesh, like pre-COVID, in a studio. What's going on? How are you?
I'm doing so good. It feels good to get out and put on a cool outfit and chat with you today. I'm excited.
Listen, Winter House season 2, your first season. So, I mean, listen, we're coming to the end of this season. Like, how has this whole experience been?
It's been wild. It's definitely not anything I ever expected it to be, and it was honestly so much fun. I never thought I would have an opportunity to do this. So it's just it was all a pleasant surprise and a little bit terrifying.
Now that the season's out, and you've been doing press, going to premiere parties. Like, have you adjusted to your newfound Bravo celebrities? You're officially a Bravo celebrity, Rachel.
Who would have known, honestly? I mean, if you asked any of my friends, they would have been like, this is a long time coming. But no, it's cool though. I mean, I feel like the only really jarring moment for me was kind of at BravoCon because the fans are real. You guys are so loyal and low-key crazy in the best of ways. But I could not walk through that area without being stopped. And I've never experienced that in my life. I was like, oh my God, I'm famous.
were you so you were just shocked at that, and you had only been on for I don't know how many weeks, but it was only a few weeks at that point.
It was one episode, and that one episode I believe aired maybe a day or two before BravoCon. So that paired with being on the finale of Summer House, I was like, how do you guys know who I am?
Listen, like you said, the fans know. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we did meet you, on the finale of Summer House,
That's true.
How do you decide that you want to go into flowers? How does that happen?
That's a loaded question, but we'll get into it.
Listen, we might as well get to know you a little bit before we talk about all, the drama and fun of the season.
You're easing me into this. Okay.
Exactly. We start with the easy questions.
You're right.
Rachel.
I got this down. All right. So before Flowers, I worked as a visual designer and merchandiser for Nordstrom. And that's honestly was my biggest passion and my dream job. And then, as I moved my way up through the corporate ladder of different companies and industries, all in fashion, I just realized this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I honestly just came into the office one day and quit. And it was hard. I struggled, and making rent and just getting by in New York City. I went back to working at a restaurant and working at cafes, which I loved those times. But they weren't gonna pay for my lifestyle that I wanted. But I did some soul searching, and one day a friend was like, "Do you need a job? It pays cash." I was like, "Oh my God, music to my ears, yes!" And little did I know, it was in this little flower shop in Chelsea. And it was worlds collided, and everything that I've ever loved about any job or anything I ever did was that. And it's the love of my life, so to speak.
Wow. And then so you just started your own company from there? You worked there for a while and then started your own business?
I worked at that company for a few years, and then I realized that I wanted to dive more personally into the industry, and how much more personal can you get than doing people's weddings? So I worked in the wedding industry for a while, and then I started realizing that I started gaining clients by them coming to me and not just for the companies that I worked for. And I was like, I could make more money if I worked for myself. And I mean, through trial and error, I really paid my dues and learned so much for the companies I worked for. And then, it was time to spread my wings, and here we are.
And you do weddings, you do corporate events. I saw you just did New York Fashion Week. You did Boohoo, Kourtney Kardashian. I mean, is Kourtney involved? Or is it I'm just curious, or is there 12 layers and it's all corporate and
it's all corporate, but at the end of the day, I get to add that to my resume of clients I worked with. So I've worked with Kendall too, so it's kind of who's the next Kardashian?
Listen, honey, there are things less exciting people to be tied to. I mean, you could have a whole career. You might be the personal florist for the
I don't know if I'm signing up for that, but you never know. Never say no, right?
Have you worked with a lot of celebrities? Have you ever done a celebrity wedding or anything like that yet?
I mean, I think the closest to celebrity weddings I've done is Kyle and Amanda's, which they're up there. They're pretty cool. I feel like they're more relatable than any other celebrity, at the time. So yeah, I mean that and working for some really big brands and names out there has really put me on the put me out there.
Did you know Kyle and Amanda before you did their wedding? Like, how did they, when this person canceled on them or didn't show, like, how did you get involved?
Well, despite what people like to say, the drama of their florist dropping out is 1,000% real. And anyone in the event industry knows that, like, you wouldn't willingly sign up for this if it wasn't, like you know the stakes that could go wrong. So basically what happened is their florist dropped out. And a mutual friend of Kyle and Amanda's and mine reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hi," and like, "Can we talk?" I'm like, "Are you mad at me? Like, what's going on?" And he was just like, "Are you available this date?" And I pulled up my calendar. I was like, "No, why?" And he kind of gave me like the down low what the situation was, and I was like, "Oh my god, I will become available." And like I took the initial meeting with them, and it helped that their wedding planner was actually the wedding planner for the first wedding I ever did as a florist. So it was very comforting and kind of full circle. And like when I talked to Amanda and Kyle, like their mood board was so cool, their vibe was cool. Like I just enjoyed them as a couple, and I was like, yes, I'll take on the stress. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Now, I mean, listen, you are a woman about town. You live in New York. Like, did you know, like, specific? I mean, I assume you knew what Bravo was. Like, were you a fan of reality TV before all of this?
No, I actually was not really, like, aware of, like, how, like, the Bravo world and, like, Bravo celebrities and all of that. And I think that was actually better that way because, like, my nerves weren't as, like, rattled. I mean, like, on top of, like, having to, like, execute a huge wedding that's going to be on TV, like, that was enough. Like, I didn't also need to know, like, everything about them in the show, but I did watch it after, and I was like, oh shit.
You're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So like you didn't specifically know like Summer House or any of this?
Nothing. I had no idea. Like I had to sign waivers and all of that, and I was like, okay, this is a thing. Okay.
So now you can say you've done a wedding that was on TV. So that's a big deal.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So how do you go from like, hey, this is a job, I'm doing this wedding, it's going to be on TV, it's going to help my career, this is my passion. How do you go from that to being like asked to be on Winter House? Like where did you first hear about like, hey, you were on there for a few minutes, we might want you for this other show? Connecting
the dots. So like one night me and Amanda grabbed drinks at this cute bar in Lower East Side, and she was just kind of like tossing the idea out, and I'm like, and at this point we had been eating we had oysters and like multiple like glasses of wine, and like I knew the bartenders there, so shots appeared, whether you wanted them or not. And then the next thing you know, I guess I agreed to go on a winter vacation with everybody. And I was like, oh, that happened. And I really didn't know what I was signing up for, but again, like, why not? Like, I'm a creature of habit to some degree, like living in the crazy like event industry that I do. Like, I'm down for anything to kind of like shake up my life.
Did you have like any reservations, or was